All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try to do this as quick as possible. All right, over here I've got a set of lungs. We're going to talk about what COVID-19 does to your body. Here's a set of healthy lungs. Here's a healthy set of alveolar, and here are your bronchioles that go to your trachea, and air goes outside. In these little sacs here, here's one of these little circles. Carbon dioxide and oxygen are exchanged, and then it pumps out, and it goes to your body and finds a place that needs oxygen. All right, that's the basics the way it works when you're healthy. Here's a little corona or SARS-CoV-2 virus. All right, there's the spike proteins. Here's the RNA. All right, gets into your lungs, and if you get infected, all right, so teenagers, stay pretty healthy. Older people or people with compromised immune systems, they fill up with fluid, and you can see it here and you can see it here. It's about halfway full. All right, this is moderate. This person might seek medical treatment, probably has considered going to the hospital, definitely has talked to their doctors. And severe cases, this one's going to be in the hospital. Here's the same alveoli filled, and you notice it's not as inflated. Notice it's rounder or not as circular or spherical as these are. It's kind of like one big round lump, whereas these are like grapes you would buy. So it kind of like deflates where you can get oxygen. As you can see, like the oxygen and the carbon dioxide can't efficiently transfer across that liquid. These are all facts. This is what it does in the body, and this has stayed the same. Now, hold on with that. For the whole time because it's facts. And I want to talk about what facts are. You know, facts, they're true at the time you state them. And they should be replaced with better facts. So as more information comes out, you want to use better and better facts. And I'm going to talk about that briefly later. All right, opinions, that's the idea someone has, and it's usually based about the facts that they have knowledge of. As facts change, people can, and they probably also should change their opinions due to the new data. I was really ready to read this research when I heard about it. I knew it was coming out Friday. I heard about it. I was excited because they were going to put masks on hamsters to see if it reduced the coronavirus. Now, this is a news article. It's somebody's opinion. So this Lillian Chang, I'm sure she's a great reporter, but she is between me and the actual text of this research. So it's almost like she's a little bit of a filter. And I'm sure if it says 67.7, okay, that's probably in the research also. All right, if it drops to this, it's probably in the research also. But I like to read the research myself. And this reads like an article. It tells you a little bit of the story about what they were doing. All right, research looks like this. Research looks like this. It has an abstract. It's going to state a problem. All right, and this one I'm going to talk about in a second. Sources you get things from are important. All right, Harvard Medical School is probably a better source than some rando on TikTok or Twitter or something like that. But this, I think, should, as well as I have a grasp of the facts, I don't understand why we are not talking about boosting our immune system more and more. That's a question I've been trying to figure out. And I'm going to talk about that with the other research article in a second. And it's going to come, this whole article, which I'll include in a link, it comes down to this part right here. Don't smoke, eat a good diet, all right? Bing, 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 we're going to come back to this. Exercise, healthy weight, things like alcohol should be in moderation for adults. Get good sleep. We've talked about those. All right, some steps to avoid infection. Talking about hand washing. All right, and this doesn't necessarily apply to coronavirus. It's just steps. Minimize stress. Nobody else can tell you how to do this. You have to figure out how to minimize your own stress. All right, back to research. I've come across several research papers that have a similar thing where they say vitamin D supplements could possibly improve clinical outcomes of patients. I'm going to show you how to hack a research project, all right? So this is the title. The abstract, somewhere in here, it'll state the problem, all right? What it'll really do, you might even have some, like with the hamster one, I was really interested in this one part called the methods. Like, were they going to put masks in the hamsters? Were they going to make miniature masks for the hamsters? Like, what was going to happen? And I didn't get that. I was really kind of looking forward to how they put the masks in the hamsters. But in this one, it was just vitamin D. All right, they're giving vitamin D. And there's some math in here, which I'm not going to get too into, like p-values, which is the probability value and, all this stuff. Let's skip that because that's for another time. Let's get down to the conclusion. All right, so the conclusion is going to sum up what they talked about in the study. In conclusion, this study provides substantial information to clinicians, that's doctors, nurses, healthcare scientists, and health policymakers. That would be like presidents, congressmen, senators, maybe even like somebody like Dr. Fauci or Dr. Bricks. They found that vitamin D supplements could possibly improve outcomes for patients infected with COVID-19. So that was good. So the first thing I did is I went to my vitamin that I take every day and I saw what percentage am I getting. So if you take a one-a-day vitamin, on the back of it, it may say list all the vitamins in it, and then it'll say a percentage. And I just wanted to get my vitamin D to where it was at 100%. Now, there's some risk going above what's recommended. All right. You can get toxicity from vitamin D. Vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. That means that it stays in your body a little longer. If you take vitamins that are water soluble, they tend to turn your urine like a bright, bright yellow. Vitamin D doesn't cause any change because it stays in your body longer. So stick to the 100%. Don't get too carried away with that. All right. So that's something that I think is important. Vitamin D, it's a fact that I've come across several times. And as new information comes out, I want to be able to change my opinion on it. But the research I have right now says vitamin D, something with very minimal side effects if taken healthy, is probably good to boost your immune system when dealing with COVID. Now, this one right here, this is reopening schools, and I found this to be really interesting. So in the beginning, there's a lot of words and paragraphs and things like that that I read. And to be truthful, they talk about what's benefited from actually being in a school. And it talks about like specials classes. It talks about everybody having a computer and equal access to the internet. It talks about like social interactions for students and teachers, all the important stuff. And they took 25 pages to say what I just told you. At the 25th page, we start to see countries like Australia. And this is like what they're going to be doing as they reopen schools. Now, they've already reopened, and you can see some of these dates, April 20th, May 11th. All right, so they've done stuff already, and some of it was remote, some of it was blended remote and other things, but you can go through each country and you can read about what they did. There's a dozen or so countries in here, and what I really like is that they included links. So if I wanted to know what the government of Western Australia did, I could click on a link they have here. All right, I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to. But there's other countries, Denmark. I know somebody from Denmark. If I talk to their kids who are in high school, I could get information about it. France, maybe you know somebody from one of these countries, and maybe it's time for you to email one of them and say, hey, what's it like in school over there? And then you'll gain some facts. And then those facts might help you develop an opinion about what it's going to be like when we go back to school.